Hey everybody, it's Mike Caribbean here. Another episode that I prepared for all my followers. Thank you everybody for supporting me all this time. This channel is about educating people when it comes to their finances. However, time to time I come across to a lot of business people, entrepreneur people, people who are visionary, and we talk about life, business, sometimes politics, but generally, my goal is to invite these successful individuals so they can share their knowledge and wisdom. And I believe the more you learn in life, better individual you become definitely helps you to make more money. And today is one of those days because not too long ago I met this individual, and personally, when I looked his background, we have a lot of things in common. But what impressed me is the way he does business, and he's a specialist when it comes to networking. So I want to go ahead and introduce my guest today, Eddie Konialian. Is that correct, Eddie?
Good enough. I'll take
Good
it.
enough?
Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm happy that you're here. How you been?
I've been good. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
cool.
feel like I just saw you yesterday.
Well, it's my honor to have you. I know your schedule is busy, and I appreciate that you took the time and you came. And I'm sure we're going to have great conversation. And I believe if one person can take something out of this conversation and applies to their life, then we did our part. So
that's fantastic.
How's your day going? Give me a little introduction about your background, because I know you have a lot of experience under your belt. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. You know, when most people ask me that question, I don't tend to go to business background. I go to personal background. So I'll tell you my personal background. I know you must have heard this before.
I would love to hear it again. So
I was born in Beirut, Lebanon during the Civil War. We migrated to the United States in the mid-'80s. And for those of you that know Hollywood in the 80s, it was very interesting growing up as a kid, not knowing the language.
Tell me which high school you went.
I went to Hoover High School, actually, in
Hoover,
Glendale.
Nothing in like a Hollywood High or
No,
Marshall?
I was only about 9 years old, so I went to Pilibos.
Pilibos, wow.
So, and yeah, I was learning the language on the
Memories
fly.
coming back?
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you exactly the way I walked from Normandy to Alexandria.
Wow.
Even now.
Yeah. So, so pretty much you grow up at young age in America. And what age you kind of went into entrepreneurship?
So I feel like I always had that entrepreneur mindset, even when I was in the corporate world. Circumstances presented themselves where my father, God rest his soul, he lost his vision. And being from the Armenian family, you're the only son, so you're asked to kind of represent the family.
Yeah.
Of course, it's an unasked question, right? You jump in and help your family. So at an early age, I was in the finance world. I started with Countrywide and so on and so forth. But it wasn't because I had the choice. Life presented that for me.
Yeah. So from young age, you took a lot of responsibility on you.
Yeah, you had to. It wasn't even a choice.
Got it. So what happened then? Like, why entrepreneurship? Why business? What was attractive?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing is
Really?
attractive about. I'm just kidding. But in terms of entrepreneurship, I found myself in a lot of rooms sharing strategies and ideas, and people from the old school were still trying to implement how the new generation was going to do business.
Yeah.
And although I believe that humanity should turn the clock back, I know a lot of technology is being developed on a daily basis. So for me, it was what I can do in terms of legacy while I was still alive. I wanted to see my legacy when I was alive.
Got it.
So I wanted to change the world. I want to change the business culture through legacy. But I didn't want to die and then have my legacy left behind.
Eddie, tell me a little bit about your latest venture that you're working on. And as I told everyone on the introduction, you're amazing at networking. How that idea came, and what's your goal with this company that you're building?
Sure. So it's called Netwrk.vip, and network spelled without an O.
Okay.
But it was actually birthed through my time at banking. I found a lot of success in banking, and people questioned why I was so much more successful than other people. And I mean, the world, people thought you were paying people off and you were
Yes.
doing wrong business. And
Yeah.
I want to show them that it was through networking, it's through treating people right that they reciprocated.
I mean, me and you met through networking.
That's right.
Through singer Vartan.
That's right. Vartan.
Let's say hi to Vartan. Vartan,
Vartan.
hello. So, and what happened then?
So when I was at the bank, we created a spreadsheet. We started tracking. I started tracking my network where I was getting business. At the end of the day, I want to make sure I thank the right people for helping me grow. And the corporate world or the corporate noticed it. They flew me out to Dallas at the time to ask me about this. And there was a project that they wanted to work on or have me work on for the bank.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, is they didn't want to back it financially. I had already done the work. We did the legwork on it. So I believed in myself. I bet on myself. I said, I'm going to go build it. We'll see what happens.
I see.
And
that's how long ago now?
Wow. From the spreadsheet day?
Yeah.
Spreadsheet was 2017.
I see.
So about 2017, 2016, I started tracking my network, but it didn't come to life until about 2019.
I see. Now, what's your goal with this company? What do you want to accomplish? And I already see the results of it because of your events. I already met good people because of these events that you're putting together, which I appreciate. Who can be part of this? How they can find out more about it, or maybe join this network? And what's the advantage of being part of your organization?
So I'll go to the first question first. Yeah. I believe that everybody should own their network. My goal is to create an environment where the network manages the network. We don't need a third party to manage a network. And I don't want to mention names, but there's some larger organizations that you perceive as a networking platform, and they're not. So I want to give the power back to the user, back to the people.
Got it.
But you have to be a good human to be part of each individual person's network.
That's a big qualification, and
that's right.
I like that you put that.
So thing is we find that, so the biggest problem I think in networking is the hitchhiker mentality, which is what I was talking about before.
Yeah.
Is people walk into a room, it's what's in it for me. Pick me up, take me for a drive, right? They don't want to really give anything back. So when you create a platform where if you're going to get invited to a group, you have to be a kind person. You have to give first. So that's why when people said, I know historically it's a very popular phrase to give first.
Yeah.
But how do you quantify giving first? So we've created that platform to give first.
Wow.
Right? You're going to show.
So your platform tracks that too.
That's right.
Wow,
it tracks the giving, the power of giving. And then ultimately, I'm a big believer in indirect networking. Most people in today's world do direct networking. Give me your business card. It's me and you. Give me your cell phone number. But nobody really takes time to understand who you know. But that's real networking, is understanding who you know and who they know, the power of that indirect reach.
Yeah.
So that's what we focus on.
I see. Now, what's your vision next 3 years with this company? What do you want to take it to?
That's a big question. So my vision is ultimately creating a culture of accountability.
Okay.
I want to create a society of accountability in business where everybody's into the idea of giving and not taking. So if you help enough people, kind of the phrase that I use is, if you give, somebody has to receive. But if you take, nobody has to give.
Wow. That's very true.
So that's the idea, is let's give.
Yeah. Eddie, I wrote a book. Maybe I didn't tell you about this. The topic I put it, the secret of living is giving. When you're a giver, not only you're happier, but the feeling of giving is way powerful. In many cases, it's way valuable than a lot of money. So, and I appreciate what you're creating. And whatever way I can support you, I'm willing to do that. And I want to encourage all my followers. If you guys watching this podcast, there's going to be a link in YouTube where you can click and just put who's your guest. In this case, put Eddie. Answer a couple of questions. He'll get hold of you and explain how you can be part of these networking events that he's doing and how you can be involved in Netwrk with the spelling of WRK.VIP. You see the social media. So let's continue. Eddie, you did a lot of networking.
Yes.
Now, do you have a couple of examples? You met somebody. Because of that, you met somebody. And then next person, and that blew up and opened up so many opportunities for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the easiest one to go to is my business partner, Dylan, and we talked about Dylan, right?
Okay.
Dylan is actually a connection of a connection of a connection of a connection,
Wow.
right?
It goes
So
three layers deep,
Oh,
huh?
five.
Five.
Five
Wow.
layers, and I've tracked that 5 layers deep, and I have contacts that are 7 layers deep. But the example that I can use, last year in Glendale, we hosted an event called
Okay.
Synaptic.
Okay.
Synaptic was a room of about 50 people, and that 50 people had a reach of over 30 million.
Wow.
But it was the right 50 people, right? From entertainment to social media to music, whatever you can think of in terms of high level tech, right? But I only called 3 people to invite to that event. So
That's powerful, lady. I mean, I think you guys need to get hold of Eri. So continue. What happened then?
no, so the being able to put that event together by reaching 3 people, it kind of could show your audience that do not dismiss anybody because they're not the right buyer. And that's the hardest part of networking is either I'm going to benefit from you or I'm not going to talk to you. That's the challenge that I see is that what I tell my people is, right, just because somebody doesn't buy from you doesn't mean they don't know somebody that will buy from you.
Wow.
Right? If they can't help you, doesn't mean they don't know somebody that can help you.
Yeah.
So the networking is how you grow your network. That's the number one transaction is grow your network so that you can help others.
Got it. That's powerful. Thank you, Eddie. Now, I know that you are very big when it comes to quotes. You know, even yesterday event, there's a powerful quote that you put it from the beginning of your video, and maybe we can share that in this podcast too. Why you like quotes and how that impacts you?
I'm a big believer in writing more than reading. So I believe in writing your own. And when you coach and you write, you find yourself in circumstances where you're coaching yourself. And it's not based on other people's quotes, although I have other people's quotes that I follow. So I try to write my own quotes because they are real life experiences from something I felt.
And it comes from your heart.
Yeah, it's something I felt and I applied to myself. So I think the quote you're talking about, if success was as important as breathing, right?
That was powerful, man.
So it's a lot of it is you have to operate as if that is the last day. That is the last chance you get to be successful.
Even at this age, you operating that way?
You have to. Every age, because when you talk about legacy, which is what I was saying, is legacy is not for when you die. I think that's another quote that I heard somebody else say. I don't recall who said it, but legacy is not for when you die.
It's when you're alive.
When you're alive, right? If you die and you leave a legacy, other people are going to enjoy it. I want to see my daughter enjoying my legacy.
Wow.
So that's why the quotes are so impactful for me, because each experience of my life is generating a quote. And a lot of people refer to quotes as a look at me, I'm a so-and-so.
Yeah.
But when they're applicable to you and you create your own, it means something else. So,
Eddie, quick question. 2 or 3 books that you recommend?
that's a tough one. Like anything that you can read of John Wooden's,
It's great, huh?
it's great. I love John Wooden, although, he's been
passed
passed away
away,
a long time ago.
Yeah.
But anything you can read from John Wooden is great. It's hard to recommend. I've read so many books that are just copycats. It just presented in a different tone. So the other thing I recommend is write and read what you wrote.
Do you do daily journaling?
I do daily journaling. I use, and you heard me say this yesterday, is I use LinkedIn as my journaling tool. So when I post articles, I'm journaling essentially for myself.
I see.
Is keeping record of, hey, at that moment, this is what I felt.
I see.
And side note, I do use chat to correct my grammar. I am Armenian. I am.
You can't be worse than me. I'm more terrible. I mean, sometimes when I send emails, my office managers replies back, corrects before we send it to the insurance company.
I will tell you though, with the AI, and to your listeners, is don't get stuck in having AI create your content. That is my one exception. Is I never ever have AI create my content.
Yeah,
I have it correct my spelling,
keep it
grammar.
original.
Yeah, it has to be you.
Yeah,
your originality is not like sounding like everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah. Now, Eddie, what motivates you? I'm sure in your life you had successes, failures. What do you do when you fail? How do you pick yourself up? And because I know a lot of young people will see this too, and what advice you'll give to young people who just starting into the business world, they want to, start their life. Couple of bullet points that helped you and you learn at this age?
What I talk about is conviction. I'll get into that in just a second, but I think goal setting is very personal.
Okay.
Your goal setting cannot be something that is general, that you can pull up a report
Got
and
to
look
be
at
specific.
It's got to be very. So when I tell people my daughter motivates me, that is an absolute fact. My daughter does motivate me because I have to be the best father I can possibly be.
That's nice of
Right?
you, man.
So at the end of the day, if you're young and you don't have children, there's got to be something personal with your goal setting that has to motivate you. Money is never a motivator. Money is not a motivator. Money is the conduit to your achieving your motivation.
Yeah.
Whether it's a house, whatever materialistic thing there is, you need money to accomplish it. But beyond that, there has to be something personal. Now, what keeps me going, everybody has down days. Some people have down weeks and months. But just understanding for me is the conviction part is that the next door I knock on, the next phone call that I get could potentially change everything. So it's not like I'm not taking a meeting because they're going to say no. Because my next meeting could be the yes.
Wow.
Right? So it's every one of my meetings, every opportunity, I never dismiss the person because they are going to be the means to my future. So this conversation that you and I are having, who knows who's going to hear this, right? So for the younger people is that there's nothing that you cannot accomplish, but there's work associated with accomplishing that. Talking of quotes, it takes 20 years to make an overnight success. Not my quote, somebody else said that, but there's 20 years worth of work to be an overnight success.
Got it. Eddie, every time I talk to you, there's a lot of things that I take mental notes, and a lot of things I already apply. I went 2 or 3 of your events. You're very good at it, and I can tell that you have passion, and whatever you're doing, it's gonna blow up and it's gonna explode because you're visionary, and I can see people have love and respect towards you.
Thank you.
So thank you for your hard work. And as a closing of the video, what would you wish, especially, I mean, I don't want to take sides, but because we're Armenians, what would you wish to especially Armenian entrepreneurs?
Help each other.
That's
Help
a
each
good
other
one, man.
without any conditions. It's don't climb over each other, right?
Yeah.
Help each other unconditionally. Just know that you are representing a community to the entire world. And don't be tagged as whatever the world tags us as. Look, I will tell you this. I know we're closing out the video, but being underestimated is not a bad thing. It's okay to get underestimated because they never see you coming. But work your butt off. And I was going to say a different word, so cut that out. But work your butt off so that no one could ever say you didn't outwork somebody.
Yeah.
So be a quality person, be a good person, help each other. That's what I can tell you.
Got it. Eddie, thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward in the future. Probably we'll do more podcasts. And one last thing I want to ask you, any upcoming events that would you like to say in this podcast?
What I'm working on right now is putting a program called Mind Gym together.
Okay.
A lot of us spend managing our physical health.
Yes.
But when it comes to mental development, like I call it 10,000 steps for the mind. So those are the event series, not an event series, but it's more of a fractional consultation that I'm trying to put together. So I'm hoping that it'll be on a monthly basis. We just had one and it was very successful.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll bring one to your town, whether we have one in Bakersfield coming up, we have one in hopefully San Francisco.
Okay.
But we will potentially bring it to every city that we can. That's what I'm looking forward to. So if you have anything, if you need anything, shoot me an email, reach out to us, reach out to Mais.
Yeah.
And before you end the call, I'm so grateful that you did this, man. I'm so really grateful for you.
I am very honored and I'm happy, and I believe in a good support to each other, and I can see that you have that kind of a heart. So I appreciate you also.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Well, thank you everybody for watching this podcast. Again, make sure you follow Eddie and follow his company at network.vip. See you guys next time and have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.